Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I've got a triad of people here, and if I were to say them alphabetically, like it matters, Jessica, Katrina, Zachary, they are all from... And you're like, very good. She did it. That's us brainy types here. These are a troop of people that are actually from New Mexico that have been traveling around the country and reading stuff, and I'm so thrilled that they are going to get to have a podcast from kfaparis.org/cafe this week. You can get them on the YouTube clips as well, so please, I'm going to call up the, just because the man says he knows how to take care of things, I'm going to call up for Zachary first. Give it up for him!
Thank you. I keep getting in trouble for being the first to go. I don't know what that's...
I don't know why. It's okay.
It is. I love it. I like being in trouble. Hey, how we doing out there, guys? How y'all feeling? All right. Here we go. Oh, come on. It's not a Lady Gaga concert. Y'all don't need to be ashamed. Give it up one time for poetry, please.
Yay!
Alright, so my name is Zachary Kluckman. I am a poet from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I am here with two other lovely and extremely talented poets from Albuquerque as well, Jessica Helen Lopez over here, and Katrina Guarascio, who just snuck out of the room, so you'll see her later. But we came together as an ensemble and decided we wanted to go on tour because we had been friends for years. We've written together, workshopped together, taught together. We're all teachers during the day when we don't have our poet capes on. So we're just, we're really just having a good time out on the road. We've got new books to talk about with you guys, and we really just want to read some poetry. So before I even tell you about our merch, I'm just going to do a short poem to start with. But before I do that, I want to say thank you for reading that haiku earlier. I love haiku. And I've actually made it my goal on this tour to read one really heartfelt, intellectual haiku on the road. So, Frank Sinatra was a terrible lover. He always wanted it his way.
Yeah.
That's the haiku.
There you go.
I lied. It was terrible, but it was fun. All right. I'm going to start with a poem from my new manuscript, actually, and this is called Cars Become Metronomes in the Rain. A lot of the writing that I've been doing lately has to do with music and musicality and concrete imagery. So, the streets are singing, or maybe that's just the rain playing the curves, black and white keys. Ghetto track symphony. Listen, damn it, listen. Wind strumming sheets of water running into gutters, wet words rushing up from the ground, or maybe that's just the homeless man praying. Red flannel jacket, torn hemlines, a feathered bursting, untucked corners hanging over dirty leather belt, his fingernails, a delicate thunder of water meeting thin sheet metal hoods. Black bars humming Gregorian chants, porch awnings, car roofs, salt-rusted hoods, traffic and Italian tenor toning to the metronoming of wind-battering billboards. Bass, low, sibilant hiss of dull yellow, rain meeting streetlight, joining the counterpoint, dissonance, castanets, or maybe that's just the cockroaches. Dirty legs skittering over tinfoil dance floor. The baby is crying. Listen. Crack pipes blow bubbles like spit on the corner of lips. The old man on the porch next door has eyes like a child. Thank you. Okay, so the poems that I'm going to just do a couple of quick ones for you here mostly tonight. But all of these come from my CD that we have available over here. I spent a year putting this CD together, and those of you out here who do work with poetry and music may appreciate this. I spent a year working with musicians and Motown and sound samples to create a CD that's poetry and music. So there's love poems, there's death poems, there's even one superhero poem. I couldn't resist, I couldn't help myself. There's poems about sex, there's poems about music and art, so it's a really pretty broad range, and I think you would like it. And that actually comes with the chapbook, so please do feel free to ask me about it. Also, Jessica Helen Lopez has her new book out, and it is called Always Messing with Them Boys. And it is full of beautiful, beautiful, beautiful word work. The word craft in it is phenomenal, just excellent. And I'll let her speak for it in a minute, but trust me, you're in luck to be here tonight. And Katrina Guarascio also has her new book, which is her second book, called They Don't Make Memories Like That Anymore, which is lifted from Kurt Vonnegut. You know, don't tell him. So, some beautiful work. Please do come talk to us afterwards. All right. Now that the sales pitch is over, I want to do a poem for you guys. Does anybody here like jazz?
Oh yeah.
Yeah? All right.
It's all right.
Nice. It's all right. You wrote a poem about Billy. All right. This is a poem about jazz pianist Cecil B. Taylor. They may have told you when you were learning to play that you were all thumbs, but all 10 thumbs were green. Every time you strike a key, your fingers sink knuckle deep in soil for seed. Aerate the ground with your broom. Spring hides under your fingernails. You plant ghettos and gated communities and gardens the size of your palms. This is where butterflies come to undress in your song. This is where we run when dissonance offers to make sense to the hands of an artist pulling roots from his instruments. This is where rainbows become fractals, a function of light. This is where we come to stuff scarecrows with light bulbs. This is where we tip scales into furrows, spilling bass clefs and treble notes all over the ground. Where the trees measure the bars, where the earth is a drum we keep beats with bare feet. This is where we learn to draw fingernails on dirty skin. Henna tattoos dried in the sun. This is where we learn to touch like spiders. This is where cold bodies become warm, where we burrow between the sheets when our hips know more lust than our teeth. This is where the finger cuts the cheek. This is where we come to stop hanging wet dreams out our windows to dry, where we learn that nipples are not buttons, but wells. This is where the stomach becomes a river flowing through a valley that men can never own. This is where fire decorates the bones hanging in door sills, where we build altars to trust on our tongues. This is where we learn to fly by letting go of the ground. This is where we plant gardens in the names of our children, where their futures are seeded. This is your garden, Cecil, where we beat our drums, where we tie our tongues between streetlights and peaches. This is where we belong. This is where we burn like bridges, stretch our lips like canvas, frame our questions like balsa wood. Our poems are Mona Lisa, but our fears are kindergarten children drawing monsters in closets. This is where we come to nail the closet shut. This is where we take our histories dancing, where the future is a wallflower, smiling because she knows that patience makes her pretty. This is the playground our inner children draw on the backside of our eyelids, where our rib cages become jungle gyms and our throats are butterfly nets. These are your hands, Cecil. This is your garden, where we burn, beautiful as peacocks in Eden, where we burn, where we burn, where we burn. Thank you. All right, so another really bad Senryu for you if you want to be proper. A world without hypothetical situations. Just imagine it. No? Okay. Pencil note, never do that one again. All right. These are all, we have a haiku death match in Albuquerque where we write like the absolute shittiest haiku we can think of and then try to win. So that's where these come from. Alright, I gotta do one more for you. Alright. This one is true story. I use this. It doesn't work, but I use it. Rules for dating my daughter. You do it to her, I do it to you.
Oh. It's hilarious.
I think so, especially when they're running and they're like, hi, and I'm like, no, it's okay. I have yet to be arrested. All right. Let's see. I want to give you guys something that we've been doing a lot of venues where we were doing spoken word, and so we haven't really had as many opportunities to do some of the kind of smaller, shorter pieces. So I want to do a few of those with y'all. All right. This is called "Choke the Dust Shoulder Ghost." Warehouse your tongue like linens in a mouthful of worries. Swallow dust-shouldered ghosts, waiting for something more than thin apologies. Witless with brief, bright intentions. Gone thin with the effort to smile. To remember when sweat meant dancing naked with her swollen breast loose among the shadows. His hornet hand stung her flowered stomach. Never let her thighs escape his savage dreams. Torn dress becoming insect wings under bully hands. Neon purple bruising shoulder bone and clavicle. Outside the throat-choking city streets, screaming mosquitoes become brownstone butterflies. Dirty city, dirty children, drink from rain gutters. Moments of silence sit heavy between them. Haunch-heavy heels glisten with dreams of scarlet thread-heavy horizons. The window in her throat allowing his stain, the shadows puppeting her eyes. His fear became her armor, wet with blood. How many bricks did it take for the ground to accept his deadly weight? With his hands in his pockets, her crying carried the flag of her knees up past her eyes, stricken with pledges to recall the fallen, but quietly, quietly. All right, one more, and then I'm gonna make part for our other poets. How many of you guys are married now?
Woo!
Okay. How many of you guys have been married? Okay, you're
I've
smart.
been married.
All right. Well, this is a poem about marriage from back before I was free. Just kidding. Just kidding. Marriage is a beautiful, beautiful. I'm sure it has a purpose. All right, this is called The Wedding Match. Wordlessly, we sat our anger down at dinner tables, removed all blunt instruments and silverware, stretched taut rubber bands from chairback to chairback and sat. Center ring with steady hands, we threw thought bubbles the size of silver dollars at the empty spaces between our words. Narrowly missed pictures of German girls and Picasso's indolent guitar hung on insolent kitchen walls. We ducked and wove like expert contortionists. In the slick summer sweat, our brows melted into thoughtful frowns, rife with cliched thoughts of battle scenes, and spots on kitchen windows where the fly swatter dealt its damage. We took a break for lemonade and board games. We all want someone who can kick our ass at something. When I cupped your dice for the final throw, screaming Yahtzee out the window like a lunatic beatnik, losing my voice in a buzz like the blue light that bumblebees will see at the end of their death tunnels. You knew that it was true, that I would be a poor sport for you. Beer bottle in hand for authenticity. Room temperature foam spilling down your t-shirt. You smiled with a sigh that shook your breast like the dying of hummingbirds, and agreed to marry me. So far, it's a tie. All right, I really like that one. All right, I am going to do one, actually, my last one for you guys. It's a political poem, and I don't do these very often, but I do want to mention also that I am the editor of several magazines, the Pedestal magazine as well as the Journal of Truth and Consequences. So if you're interested in submitting poetry to me, please let me know, because we're always accepting submissions, and I love hearing from people that I've had a chance to meet. So please do come see me afterwards. All right, this is called Dog Tags and Butterflies, and it was published in Inscape Journal, and actually I was fortunate enough to receive a really nice critical review for it. In the silence, there is nothing. A void of sound, like the failure of emotion to capture the moment when a flag falls over a soldier and the ground swallows both. When the gunfire ceases suddenly, the ground echoes with the sound for minutes afterwards. The thunder of fire swallowed by the sand. Pulse you can feel with your hand. A storm you can play in your head like a song. Press your ears to the ground and you can still hear the dead. In the silence, there is nothing. Even the hot, humid air does not move. The fallen lay in their boots, wait for prayers to be tied to their toes, dog tags around their throats. The last vision of their eyes, imploding like breastbone and khaki, stolen from the wetlands of the iris by the long proboscis of butterflies drawn to their moisture.
Right on, Jack.
Thank you very much, guys. I want y'all to do me a favor and please give it up one time for our host and for Janet Kuipers for having us here tonight. And please give it up to yourselves for reading poetry and being here tonight. I really appreciate it. And please keep the applause going and give a lot of love to our next poet, the wonderful and inimitable Katrina Guarascio.
Can you hear me? Maybe. All right, thank you, Zach. The first poem I'm going to do for you is dedicated to anyone out there who's ever come to the painful realization that they've outgrown a relationship.
Yeah.
And you know who you are. I hung me a shadow outside my window, so hopeful you would come to retrieve it. I was always more your windy than your mermaid. My scales never stuck to your skin, and my name easily escaped your mind, leaving me to wonder if you ever really knew me. See, I gave you my thimble too soon. A clever kiss and nothing more, too eager for the adoration of a new boy. I was always more your windy than your fairy friend, my hands too soft for metal work, my body too large for just one emotion, but you are always my Peter. So cocksure, congratulating your cleverness, misminded and forgetful, your attentions wavered, but your affection, your loyalty, was as stubborn as a child's lower lip. You waited up all night in front of my door, hand on your dagger, spark in your eye, knowing from the curl of smoke mischief was about. But I never asked you to fight my battles. You didn't have to win me. I was already yours. After all, it was the kiss you left on my chest that saved my life. I want to be your fierce friend, your clever cousin, dance with you on high rocks without fear of falling, listen to your first laugh, like a child watching soap bubbles pop. Let that laugh linger on your breath for an eternity, even if it means leaving you to your own adventures. See, too much time has passed, and you have forgotten me. Left me sitting by a window in my new dress, and I have forgotten how to fly. I became a woman 2 days before every other girl. I no longer listen for the sound of your crow. You have become nothing more to me than dust on old toys. I grew up despite childish promises, and this woman's voice no longer knows how to speak to such a boy. But I still think of you. And that space between sleeping and awake as a fondness, a treasure. Your shadow is waiting outside my window. Come and reclaim it. On your return to your wandering island, trailing my childhood and best intentions in a shimmering way. Thank you.
Yay!
So yeah, like Zach said, a lot of our venues have been very spoken word and slam heavy, and that's not really my element. I'm more of what we term a page poet. So a venue like this, I feel comfortable reading a poem that I don't usually get to read. So I hope you enjoy this one. It's called Her Absence. I do not regret the days I spent loving you in her absence. I do not regret your temporal touches as you searched for her skin under my scales, or the way your eyes reflected her sharp chin and freckled chest when they fell on my frame. I do not regret the space we created, these morning gestures in the folds of sheet and flesh. Tending your wounds with tongue and time, you found solace with your elbows on my table, your dirty feet in my bed. But I knew you would exit on your own side to look out the south-facing window. She was ever present upon the waves of your thoughts, your ears keen for her voice, but I heard it first. Soft as the buzz of bumblebees on the beach, calling you home. I do not regret returning to a solitary balcony above the ocean's turning point, or slipping inside my bed still warm in your place. So as you kiss my hands in gratitude of my hospitality, don't leave thinking I am empty. I gave what I wanted, no more, no less. Yay! Okay, and the last poem I'm going to share for you is basically the title track of my book. It's called They Don't Make Memories Like That Anymore. And this huge apocalyptic scene that's on the cover actually does have something to do with my title, because the title's stolen from a Kurt Vonnegut book called Galapagos. Anyone know of it?
Yep.
It's about a post-apocalyptic world, and it's a line from the book in which the main character realizes that because of the apocalypse and that they're all turning into seals, if you've read the book, you know what I mean, that they cannot have these memories based on innocence that they once had. So that's kind of the running theme of the book. So here you go. The newness of Saturday morning still lies upon lips. Pomegranates and mint leaf perfume the moment. A drop of water held in suspension reflects a smile between boy and girl. This fickle flash, as malleable as smoke circles and airstreams, revives a remembrance, crisp as coal. You used to say I was a sketch. Charcoal pencil rubbing white pages, unshaded ribbons around twisted branches. And now, with misshapen limbs, I separate east from west and pretend not to notice sooted fingertips upon earlobe, mislaid images of a morning, fragmented. I never told you how I liked my coffee. I didn't want you to have that piece of me to spread on bread and satiate your appetite. I prefer you drink me. Let me bitter. Embed my essence deep in your mouth to tongue until next we meet. You look at me, wary eyes across coffee cups. Without a word, call me a champion. Still a kiss, tart to taste, and leave the flavor of this moment imperfect, unfinished, for me to savor. I would know you anywhere. Thank you guys. Troop member Jessica Helen Lopez. Please give her a great hand.
Hola. How's everybody feeling tonight?
Awesome! Woo!
Thank you for having us here. We really, truly appreciate it. I did not plan on reading this poem, but I received some bad news from Albuquerque. I put some lipstick on and I am now fresh and anew. So I shall read this poem for you. I hope you enjoy it. It's called Dangerous Woman. I've got no qualms on being a woman. No problem with my swinging hips. Paint my lips. A Nefertiti type of chick. A fright-numb, foul-mouthed, drink some beer kind of bitch. Laugh with the girls, smoldering cigarillo hangs on hard lips. I'm a quick-wit pessimist, born with a bad disposition, bonding bartenders and waitress sisterhood up to no good. That dangerous table, back of the bar shadows, black widows, chewing up the men, throwing back beers, half-cocked, cocked rifle, my poem, a revolution on the horizon. Tipsy chatter, shackle-free of mean daddies, fast-fisted husbands, 70 cents on the dollar, double standards, and sorry ass-sexual innuendos. Scratching where I please. Another round of brew, please. Remove your hands from my ass. Please. Tease. Stomping through life squeezed into lean jeans. I'm a contradiction, wearing a barely there bra and bulldozing bullshit. Those that aim to hurt me, targeting those that aren't, not knowing any difference. A hangover of regrets and smudged mascara. What to do with this anger like a man, this tongue like a proprietor of porn? Where do I fit between dainty, decent, and vulgar truth? Saintly and slutty, maternal and murderous. 'Cause let's face it, I'm more the Magdalena than I am the Madonna, but of a cigarette, a beautiful thing. Sexy, beer bottle and smoking, Marlboro lights down to the last stick, last match, last call. I've got no qualms with alcohol. Smooth and fluid, 10 feet tall, heavy-handed eyeshadow, hooded lids, sling my arrows, aim to miss. Swinging hips, painted lips, dangerous woman. You may be familiar with a jazz singer named Billie Holiday.
Maybe.
Maybe.
No.
No, never heard of it.
She ain't no Lady Gaga. My gardenia scented getaway. Suicide not for fame. Dulling color fades today. I ain't no Sylvia Plath mama. Sexy and sexton tragic Ophelia. Won't go out mad martyr style, but sometimes the slide of silky fingers collides with my sensibilities. Sings the song of the lovely siren that is the lady. The smoky, sad jazz of Billy beckons me. Blue, deep onyx sea palette, watery grave, my gardenia scented getaway. The greasy trombone and melodic boom of bass guitar, like fingers play piano keys, tapping Morse code the misery of music. Honey butter songstress, the bleeding heart of Billy's mantra, my gardenia scented homegirl. Sheets cover the windows, keeps the room cool and dark. When La Katrina speaks, bleached bone and bourgeois, her skeletal thin-skinned hand soothes me. She hums. Death dreams, lulls me to sleep. Smooth jazz reprieve. Silky fingers of subjugation offer rest from the rage that burns my heart, chatters away my brain, thumps my sleep out from its groove, the xylophone to my rib cage, cradle to the downcast heart, silly moon. So many odes to that old girl have they made, Miss Holiday, a good morning to heartache, in her solitude going bad, singing away like no one can my sickness of sadness. You Frida lady. Lady Lazarus, supernova woman, posturing pain, whispering, muerto, muerto, murió, Llorona, leave me be, prayers allow me to channel la chola loca, long hair, devil may care, barrio bitch. Something is passing through these veins again, haunting my heart, hopelessly hypnotic, a Homeric epic needing release. Heroin overdose, all dressed up and nowhere to go. Needling straight to the cardiac arrest, slipping the noose around the songbird's neck, snapped shut the nightingale. Who will sing less and less and less. Knowing this day will come again, and I will do as Dylan says, and rage, rage, rage against the dying of the light, and only wish, how I wish, if Villanelle encompasses the ladies too, and not just the deaths of fathers and old men. Tomorrow is a Zach Kluckman Day, Charles Bukowski, Diane Wachowski, a Pichi Puta Sandra Cisneros Day. Tomorrow is Walk on Washington, Bulldog Battle along the border, a fight for the brown. But today, I sit in the lovely gray, the cleansing ray of Lady Day. Did not plan on doing this, but you know, when I'm done, I hope you guys all smoke a cigarette and take a shot of tequila. Raise your hand if you like tequila. Just a little bit. Okay. No? Alright. I hope you're not offended by the word clit, cunt, cock. I like the honesty in the swelling of the skin when you reach out for my clit. Spoon dagger your four fingers around the column of my thigh. As I push my small mango ass against your body, curled around my body, Sunday morning. I like the honesty in your tongue. As direct as a man's starched work shirt, silken as pearlescent buttons when you go down. Your ivory, pink-tinged hands part my brown thighs, and I sigh into the pillow. Into the pulpit of me you speak truth, as true as the taste of cold fruit on a hot tongue. Guava. Last Thanksgiving, my father rejected you, so I rejected him, and we fled that upside-down desert town. You were too white, blonde, buttered cream curls, and eyes that burn as blue as the strip of sky that followed my car as we drove the hell out of there. We drove 15 hours to Shreveport, Louisiana, stopping to fuck once, twice, on the side of the highway. The diesel engines burned down the world around us, but we had our own things to give. Our bodies. Mine, brown as dirt, simple as sand. Yours, not quite white, no. Peach in places. Salmon pink, right before the sun set. Blood orange. The star inside of me unraveled, and I came all over you and the passenger seat of my car. Together you and I are a movable feast. Kiwi, the grape on the vine, toes, mouth, anus, pubis, clavicle, the scent of nopales and fresh mayha jam, the smashing of bones, the body's oils, the crest of desire, rearing, pulling small tidal waves into my mouth and out of my chest. This Sunday morning, you push your way into my cunt, and I let you. We fuck away the history of ignorance. We fuck away all those white boy jokes my family insists are funny. In the hollow church of our bed, our shared Sundays are holy. There are no words, only orchestral moans and darting tongues. We push our worlds into one another. Grapefruit, slivers of nectarine, a rooted flower in the belly, magnolia and sage, clit, tip of dick, so soft. Hip bone on hip bone, nipple to nipple, palms bursting with sangre, sandia, espiritu santo. Together you and I make our own religion. I let you spoon dagger your four fingers into my mouth. This is what we taste like rewritten history, like milk, like cinnamon, like sweet, sweet revolution. Like slow, slow Sunday mornings. I like the honesty and the swelling of the skin. Thank you. Thank you for having us this evening.
I feel like we have one of the episodes to say one more time, give it up. We got a phenomenal track. One more time for Katrina, Zachary, give it up. I would say you Mexico
It's the dry heat.
I was in Arizona once, I'm laying out. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna lay out while I'm visiting a friend. And I said, something's burning. And I'm looking around, I'm in an apartment complex. I'm like, what's good? Oh, that's human flesh. It was 120 degrees. And
I was feeling like that was awesome. No, but yeah, it's all different kinds of heat. One will be exasperating to everyone. Oh, that was 120 degrees.
That's hot.
When it's, so it's 120 degrees here or there, whether it's moist or dry. Exactly. Next week, Lucia Blood is the feature here at the cafe, and Lucia Blood is our feature next week at cafe, and we've got open mic night if there are people available. Otherwise, it is a mini feature night for the next couple of weeks before we get the lovely and charming Charlie Newman toward the end of July. So please, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again